this. Every time we get on a new rant about something, Esther believes us because she's never found a shred of evidence to the contrary of anything that we've ever said. So she digs into the process that we recommend and finds the manifestational results. So recently, she's been noticing conditions that are not pleasing. Some conditions that are mildly annoying, some conditions that are enormously annoying, some conditions that are unspeakably uncomfortable in the world. There are things that you don't want to be going on. So when she finds herself, for whatever reason, giving her attention to one of those conditions, and she takes the emotional hit of it, she can feel that the opinion of her inner being and the opinion of her, that the opinion of Abraham and the opinion of her are very different opinions, because she can feel the discord, the negative emotion, the tug of war. So she's been sitting with her book and writing the condition, the unwanted condition. This is what's going on, and I sure would feel better if that condition did not exist. And then she acknowledges, but it does exist. It's not my job or my capability. It's not my work. It's not for me to do to change the condition. It just exists. It's also not my work to accept the condition. It is a condition. It's a condition. And then she writes, it's been very helpful for her, if this condition could change to one I prefer, I would feel like this. And then she begins writing some of the emotions that she would feel. I would feel freer, she usually writes. I would feel better. I would feel happier. I would feel better. And then she sits and writes those emotional words, because after all, isn't everything you want, whether it's a material object, a state of being, a pile of money, isn't everything that you want it because you think you would feel better if you had it? So sometimes she'll write a page or two or three or four emotional words. She repeats herself over and over again. She writes the word fun a lot. It would be more fun. Be more fun. I'd feel more clear. I would feel more proud. I would feel more sure. I would feel love. I would feel better. I would feel so good. I would feel exhilarated. I would feel lighthearted. I'd feel that being on vacation feeling. I would feel ease. I would feel sure. I would feel loved. I would feel love. I would feel loved. I would feel loved. I would feel loved. I would feel blessed. I would feel so happy. I would feel glad. And she just writes that and writes that and writes that and writes that and writes that. Before she knows it, she feels those ways because she has distracted herself from the condition, and now she is experiencing unconditional alignment. Are you following? It sounds so simple, it sounds silly. But if you want to feel happy, you've got to figure out how to withdraw your attention from conditions that you cannot change. And even before that, it would be very helpful if you would accept that you cannot change any condition other than the way you feel. Do you accept that you came into this life experience with reason or purpose? And that expansion is the reason or purpose? Moreness. More. So, is it therefore, leading questions, logical to you that what exists now is the bouncing off for what's coming? Isn't that logical? So now we just want to put a very simple question to you, and we want you to ask it of yourself often, every day, several times a day. Did you come to catalog, pigeonhole, document, justify, rationalize what is, or did you come to bounce off of it? Really? So, do you feel, we've sort of led you along to this awareness, can you feel how really silly it is to be spending so much time defining what is? Explaining it, defending it, justifying it, cataloging it, pigeonholing it, comparing it. Can you feel how It just all exists for you to bounce from. And can you feel that you kind of want to give your attention to where you're bouncing to rather than what you're bouncing from? And do you realize that if all of your attention, or even most of it, is on what you're bouncing from, you don't bounce to anything different. You just keep recreating what is. And that really is the thing that we want you to recognize and realize. You are the creator of your own perception of reality, and you are source energy in physical bodies. And you came into this time-space reality with very clear intention of living joyfully ever after. And you knew that there would be enough dynamics, that there would be enough variety and contrast to help you make constant new decisions about what you want. And you knew that you had the ability to move toward all of that. But you also knew that it wasn't the arriving at the destination that you were about. It's the journey. It's the continual finding of alignment. So the other day, Esther's been listening to us talking about this. We've been talking about it quite a bit. And she's determined because she so wants to feel good. So she was sitting in Texas in a chair in her living room that looks out across the pool. And she was in such a heightened state of well-being that as she looked out there and saw the crane statues, they're just magnificent, and the beautiful oak trees that are right there, right on the other side of her pool. And the pool itself and all of its engineering and beauty and sound as she looked around, and then the red bird that stood on the point of a tip of a tree and just looked at her. And as Esther is looking at all of this, she is feeling, she's reaching for words to describe to you. You sort of have to kind of be there, but rapturous, elation, unspeakable well-being, indefinable well-being, all the well-being of the world being experienced by her right now. It's a feeling of feeling blessed and loved. And as she sat there, basking in this moment in time and loving the idea of it lasting forever and ever and ever and ever and ever, it started fading as she focused a little laxly. And then she said, "Aha, Abraham, I've caught you in a inconsistency here because these are conditions that I am focused upon and I feel good. So don't talk to me about unconditional love, because these are conditions and I love them." And we said, here's the difference. You were in that state of love before you realized the depth of the beauty of these conditions. You weren't using these conditions to conjure the feeling of love. You were there, and then you realized them. It's the horse before the cart thing, isn't it? In other words, feels like nitpicking. It feels like splitting hairs. It feels like something that we are making more simplistic than you want it to be. But it is that easy. You just have to decide that you want to feel good and stop thinking about things that keep you from feeling good. You're like a cork that bobs on the surface, and that's what feeling good is. You can hold that cork under the water, but when you let go, it's going to bob back up. And this is the thing that we want you to realize about yourself and others. And most of you don't realize it about yourself and others. Happiness is your natural state and would be your state if you weren't thinking thoughts that introduce contradictory energy that keep you from being where the source within you is. That is your natural state. And if you are not happy in any moment, something is out of whack, and it's you. And so, one last bold statement that we want you to contemplate. And once you contemplate it and come over time to accept it completely, it is our promise to you that you will then begin your living happily ever after phase of your life experience. Sometimes as your path is unfolding, the perfect thing along the path is a problem coming into greater clarity. Because at the same time that a problem is coming into greater clarity, you are creating the solution in your vortex. Then all you got to do, once you have sufficiently created the solution by poking around at the problem, you just have to decide to be a little more unconditional for just a little while. And the solution will reveal itself to you in very short order. You're going to reach the point that you bless every problematic person in your experience. Oh, you are responsible for major growth within me. I would not be the person I am today if it were not for the harassment that you have provided for me. I'm so appreciative of everything that you've caused me to desire that you're not. And when I gained the wisdom to stop making your deficiencies be the basis of my vibration, then everything that you helped me to become, I began to realize. And then you're going to love all of the components of this magnificent world, because we really are all in this together. And when you stop needing to demand the conditions to be a certain way for you at a certain time, you will find freedom. You will find the freedom that you've been looking for. You'll find the joy that is natural to you, and you will begin the living happily ever after phase of your life experience, which, as far as we are concerned, should be the only phase that you are ever in. When a conflict that you are observing, whether you are personally involved in it or observing it from a distance, when you're in the middle of contemplating it, you are launching preferences. But most humans do not become a vibrational match to their preferences. They remain a vibrational match to the condition that caused the preference to be born. So when we talk about withdrawing your attention from conditions that make you feel uncomfortable, that makes people like you want to come forward and say, but how can we help if we are not aware of the problems? And we agree to that to this extent. Your attention to the problem is creating a global solution. Mass consciousness, with all of its involvement in war and all of its awareness of war, in all of its awareness of poverty and awareness of starvation and awareness of plagues, have launched rockets of desire collectively. But as individuals, you rarely become a vibrational match to what you've launched, because you're so enamored with focusing upon what is. The conditions have got you hogtied to the degree that as humans, you spend almost all of your time focused on conditions and evaluating the rightness or the wrongness of them and the degree of goodness and badness of them, which is just such an utter easy first step. You ought to be way, way past that by now. But the universe can deliver a solution to both. So this is the way it works. Let's say that it's just you and another guy, and you think this and he thinks that, and you want a solution and he wants a solution, and source, universe, law of attraction, whatever you want to call this universal energy, is aware of what both want, because both have a vortex and the solution for both is in their vortex. But this one, instead of being a match to what's in his vortex, is instead pushing against you. So not a vibrational match to what he wants. The other one, instead of being a match to what's in his vortex, instead pushes against you. So neither one are a vibrational match to the solution that they have created, and both are blaming the other for not receiving the solution, when both could receive a solution that would be completely satisfying to them individually. It's the belief that for me to get what I want, you have to give something that you want up. That's the flawed premise. That's not true, that's not true, that's not true. That's because you have little piles of spoils that you are quibbling over instead of universal, infinite expansion. That's like saying, oh, here's the economy. It's this many billions of dollars or trillions of dollars. It's this many pieces of something. This is the economy. And the rich guys are getting too much of their fair share. And so you pinch yourself off from your share because you're too worried about what that guy's getting. It's like dividing the pie up and saying, he's getting too much of the pie and the rest of us aren't getting enough of the pie. And we say, you could be creating bigger pies. You could be creating more pies. But you're not creating more pies. You're quibbling over the spoils of this one paltry, puny little pie. Because you're not using the energy that creates worlds. You're squabbling over things that are disconnecting you from your true power. We have enjoyed this interaction more than these words can explain to you. We are loving the resonance that you feel. It feels good to feel the alignment with who you are, doesn't it? And you are as close to unconditional awareness of life as you have ever been. You'll feel more.